Hey, we're cooking with gas here on the Jewcast.
Okay, careful using a phrase like that.
This trial is a travesty. It's a travesty of a mockery, of a sham, of a mockery, of a travesty, of two mockeries, of a sham.
Tradition!
Oh, shut up, Carl! Shut your goddamn Jew mouth! You people are why there's war in the Middle East!
Gekakken auf een jam.
Nebbig.
Verpoepoepoe.
Vermischt.
Verkakt.
Vertutst.
Verstonken.
Farted.
Exactly.
You what Grammy Hall would call a real Jew.
Oi, we're doing it again.
Back at ya. It's the American Jew Podcast. I'm Jonathan Randall.
I am Jordon Ferber. Oh,
Let's get into the Jewishness going on this week.
this has been a rough one this week. Wouldn't you say?
I mean, we've had roughers, I think.
I mean, I'm guessing that Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib never got to go on their birthright trip.
They definitely were not allowed on birthright.
I always hope that we can do one of these episodes without having to talk about Donald fucking Trump. But
I know,
it turns
you
out
really hate talking about him.
This is going to be a very Trumpy episode, I guess.
This is a Trump-packed episode.
I can't believe the balls on this guy to deny, to call Netanyahu specifically and say, "Hey."
Well, he didn't call him specifically, did he? I thought he just sent out this tweet saying that, like, they shouldn't be letting them in or something. And then Netanyahu and his people scrambled and they stopped them from coming in. I guess one of them had a very sick grandmother in the West Bank.
Right. Well, I think the main reason that they didn't want him to come in was that apparently they were like, "Oh, their agenda is to tour the Western Bank and show all of this anti-Palestinian activity that the Israelis are engaging in."
Yeah, I don't know what Trump's lies were and what were the truth and what not, but it's crazy that American Congresswomen weren't allowed in.
Yeah.
They weren't allowed into Israel. It's crazy that Trump is making enemies of people that are part of his own government.
Yeah. Well, also the grandmother thing. Her grandmother wasn't well, so she said, I wanted to visit my grandmother. She goes, "Okay, you can go visit your grandmother." And she was like, "Well, fuck you then. I'm not."
Yeah, at that point, they said, my grandmother said she doesn't want me to go, like it's not worth it or something.
Yeah. The grandmother.
Like, we've been insulted. We've been insulted already.
The grandmother was like, "I hope Trump rots in hell."
A lot of people hope he does. I mean, that's crazy that he tweeted that out. I mean, him and Netanyahu are like buddies. They're both corrupt politicians, so of course they would get along. And now Trump is trying to like attack these Congress women, which are Muslims, which I don't know how anti-Jewish they are. They're definitely anti the treatment of the Palestinian people by Israel. But of course, Trump wants to really say no, since they're against Israel, they're against all Jews. He's trying to get Jewish support, by kind of, using this as a tool, which he has been doing. Yeah, and now even more so.
He came out with a statement saying that that the Democrats hate all Jews and hate Israel.
He said, if you vote for Democrats, then you are either misinformed or you're disloyal.
That's what he said today. But that's what he said today.
That's what he said yesterday.
Yesterday, but last week he said that the Democrats hate all Jews.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he actually said that.
That's crazy.
It is crazy,
especially because Bernie Sanders is a Democrat and a Jew.
Right. Well, Bernie came out and said, "Well, I'm an American and I'm a Jew and I don't hate the Jews, obviously."
I mean, I'm a Democrat and I don't hate the Jews either.
It's just insanity.
He's trying to just like cause rifts and fights with people, and it's just ridiculous that people are buying into it. Do you know that like 80% of the Jewish voters voted Democrat in the last election?
Right. Because they're fucking educated, because they don't want to vote for a narcissistic fascist
who's riled up white supremacists, who in his term of presidency, anti-Semitism has been at an all-time high, where like he panders to people that actually do hate Jews. The person who shot up the synagogue in Pittsburgh named him like, "Oh, I love Trump." The one in El Paso, I know they didn't shoot up Jews, but I'm sure there maybe were some Mexican Jews there. He also named Trump. It's like Trump is just like getting all the worst people on your side. It's like if all your fans are like pedophiles, maybe you shouldn't be a fan of the guy if all of his other fans are pedophiles. I mean, that's a horrible analogy. But anyway.
The thing is, and I was telling you this earlier, you can say all you want about Trump. Trump's a racist and he's a bigot and he's an anti-Semite. He's a Trumpster. That's it. He only cares about himself. He only cares about how he is affected. And it's pretty clear at this point that all you have to do if you're a public figure is say nice things about him, and he will say nice things about you.
Today he was quoted, I guess there was some conspiracy theorist radio talk show host who said some things about him, and Trump retweeted them. Or this is what he wrote. He goes, "Thank you, Wayne Allen Root, for the very nice words. Quote, President Trump is the greatest president for Jews and for Israel in the history of the world, not just America. He's the best president for Israel in the history of the world, and the Jewish people in Israel love him like he's the king of Israel. They love him like he's the second coming of God. But American Jews don't know him or like him. They don't even know what they are doing or saying anymore. It makes no sense, but that's okay. If he keeps doing what he's doing, he's good." Like, I don't even know what this idiot is saying. I love it how Trump, of course, like you said, "Oh, nice things about me. I am the second coming of the Messiah."
Look at
You're
this.
a golden calf at best, you orange-haired bastard. So many Jews are coming out saying, "Don't use us as our tool. Don't try to weaponize and politicize anti-Semitism," which is basically what he's doing. And, let these women go to Israel. Let's try to get peace. Why are we causing more division? Oh my God, it just is so stupid. It makes me nauseous.
Well, we talked about this a couple months ago when it started happening, but there was the Exodus movement. They called it Jexodus. And it's like this group.
Juicidix or Jexidix? All right, whatever.
It started as Jexodus is what I think it started as. And it was this group that wanted to get Jews that are pro-Israel to leave the Democratic Party and become Republicans. And Trump was basically using that as a thing, saying, "Oh, look at all these Democratic Jews who
Which
are
wasn't
flipping sides."
happening.
So this woman, she came out and defended Trump's statements about Jews being disloyal. The one statement that she made here that I think is just it blows my mind that we have a differing of opinion on what this actual statement means. She says the Exodus movement hopes to inspire Jews, and I think all people actually, to vote with their conscience and their beliefs and not with any fears whatsoever. And I think the further the Democrats shift to the left, the harder it is for any religious person to align with them. I just feel like, we talk about this a lot, about how we're not religious. We are not. We're Jewish by culture.
Okay,
is how that's how we identify.
By birth and culture, yeah.
Right. So, I to align yourself with people who are so strictly religious, who adhere so much to the scripture and to religious rules, those are people that are not living in the 21st fucking century.
Absolutely. I mean, it's crazy. These people, they just are holding on. They're so afraid to admit that they don't know. And
they
to
cherry
all the
pick.
uncertainty of the world, that they will cling on to something that really doesn't serve them and doesn't serve anybody in the world. And it's just more ways to divide us, more ways that, we're fighting amongst each other instead of the people who we really should be fighting against, which are our oppressors, which we don't even realize we're being oppressed.
They cherry pick the parts that are relevant to the discussion, and they leave out the stuff that would otherwise put them, against themselves.
Yeah, Trump keeps saying, these congresswomen, they're anti-Israel, they're anti-Jewish, they're anti-Israel, they're anti-Jewish. And from what I've gathered, what they are is anti-horrible treatment of Palestinian people. It's not like they're really anti-anything. They're pro-human rights.
Yeah.
That's what they are. They're pro-human rights.
Well, I think it's interesting, and it's a good segue, I guess, as well. I mean, we've been talking about this for the last few weeks, about how there's all of this anti-Semitism coming to the surface now, and there's a lot of people saying that the whole "if not now" and "never forget," all these organizations that are trying to help us remember what has happened to the Jews in the past, in the history. This type of stuff coming to the surface now is a reminder that we need to be vigilant against anti-Semitism more now than ever.
Absolutely.
This week's Torah portion is the third and final segment that's sort of a recap and a reminder of what has happened to the earlier generations.
Right. Moses keeps... This is apparently his last speech. He's going over, hey, this is what happened. This is why the older generation that wasn't allowed in Israel, and we had to wait through the desert and die out because of the golden calf.
Well, so this week's portion is called Because, right? That's Ikev?
Right, because.
It means because. Because of all the wonderful things he does.
Because of all the horrible things the Jews did.
Well, no, this is all about, remembering that God did all these things for the Jews.
Because of wonderful things he does.
So Moses just reminds the Jews, this is what God has done for you. You're about to enter the land of milk and honey. Everything that you touch will be yours. Man does not live on bread alone. He must also have the prayers. But he does say, he commands them to destroy the idols of the land's former masters and to beware lest they become haughty and begin to believe that, quote, my power and the might of my hand have gotten me this wealth.
It's all because of God.
It's all because of God.
Nothing you could do. It's nothing you do is because of yourself. It's because God wanted you to have it, or you prayed to God enough.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, if you look at what Trump is doing, Trump is the I alone can fix it guy. That's pretty goddamn haughty.
He's the king of Israel. He's the new Messiah.
Yeah, he's the king of Israel. He's the second fucking coming. He's a false idol for sure. But I do think it's interesting that that this week's parsha sort of concludes that, and it coincides with what's happening in the world today. That it is a reminder that you have to be vigilant against the people that are trying to kill you.
The Jews are about to get into Israel right now in the Bible. God's telling them this land, all this good stuff that's going to come from this land. We're still fighting over this land. There might be milk and honey. There might be all the grains, but there's still death. There's still sadness. There's still hatred. Of course, I'm not an expert when it comes to these congresswomen, but from where I sit, I think they're trying to do good and make Israel accountable for some of the bad shit that they've done, which is not anti-Semitic, which is pro-human, and it's just ridiculous, this narrative that Trump is perpetrating, other people are perpetrating, uninformed Jews are perpetrating, and you know what? Yeah, the people that believe that they're horrible and they hate all Jews and they just want to destroy Jews in Israel, those are the people that aren't educated, and those are the people that are disloyal, not to any one nation, not to any religion, but to the fucking human race and to life and prosperity on earth.
Mic drop right there.
Right? I flicked it a little bit.
Yeah, that's why I think it's really it's troubling when you see people that cherry pick some of the things that work for them. And
well, that's like every person does in religion. That was a big turnoff for me when I was growing up, and I would see people do that, and I was like, ugh. And even I had friends, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah," I'm like, "Well, you do this, but you don't do that." I'm like, how could you pick one and not the other? Like, it's very confusing to me. A lot of these things are confusing. It's confusing to me when they're like super gay Christians or even super gay Jewish people, and it's like this religion, like they don't want you in it. They hate you. Like, I don't understand. Like, why are you pro the thing that hates you, that if it has it their way, you can't be your way? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. But I mean, I do believe that religions have just been created to divide us, and so we fight amongst ourselves instead of evolving into the perfect beings that we should be, with all getting along, of all humanity. And it's just like it's always someone new. It's always something else.
Well, that's why it's really disturbing to me to hear that woman say that people should vote with their conscience and their beliefs, and not because if you look at like the further you go away from religion, I don't understand how you negotiate that. Like, you have to have. If you're voting with your conscience and your beliefs, and your belief system includes science and
right, which we know is true, science.
You know what I'm saying?
Based on facts.
And doesn't lean so heavily on scripture that was written thousands of years ago, and a mindset that seeks to inoculate you from mainstream society. You wouldn't want to align yourselves with people that have that opposite belief.
I don't know.
Right? I mean,
I don't know. These beliefs aren't doing anything good for anybody, and I just feel like you're believing in a lot of hatred, a lot of bad things. Is
well,
what believing.
I don't quote Kevin Smith that often, but my favorite movie of his, Dogma, the prophet does say that Jesus talked about ideas, not beliefs. Beliefs are hard to change.
Right.
Ideas can be changed.
I mean, I don't think Jesus was around, he'd be happy with the way we treat a lot of people. Jesus was Jewish.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird about how they are, these white supremacists, a lot of these people who believe in Jesus so much hate the Jewish people so like Jesus was Jewish. Apparently his dad was Jewish. It's like no one likes Jaden Smith more than Will Smith, okay?
And, I mean, his mother was Jewish also, obviously. Although there's not that many Jewish women named Mary. That was like the last Mary.
Was she the last Mary?
And the last Jewish Mary.
Over to
and then it became
Christianity.
Yeah.
I don't know. The whole story is a little BS to me. I know I have a bit in my act about it. How a woman getting impregnated by God, to me, isn't a miracle. It's suspicious.
Yeah.
Greatest excuse for infidelity of all time.
Well, the interesting thing also is that sometimes the Torah doesn't actually explain anything. You ask a question, and the answer is because.
Why? Because God said so.
Yeah.
Just because that's the way you're supposed to do it. That never worked for me.
Me neither. That's
So,
why
I don't know.
one of the reasons why I don't do the religion part.
You know, Trump's an idiot. Don't buy into what he has to say. If you want to vote for him because, I don't know, you think the unemployment is down, great. Well, hatred is up since he's been in office. He doesn't really care about Israel. He doesn't really care about the Jewish people. He cares about who could do what for him and who can make him look good. And if all the Muslims started worshiping Trump, he'd be a lot more pro-Muslim.
Well, I also want to just say, it's important that we don't let some of these big distractions keep us from being mindful and being vigilant in the face of hatred and not just anti-Semitism and bigotry, but hatred wherever you see it, and to call it out. I
hate the haters. I hate the haters, man.
Yeah.
The only people I hate are the haters. If you're hating off somebody because of their religion, I hate you. If you're hating off somebody because of their sexuality, I hate you. If you're hating somebody because of their ethnicity, I hate you. If you hate somebody because of their nationality, I hate you. That's the way I feel.
Right.
Those are the things that are wrong. It's not wrong to be gay. It's wrong to hate gay people. It's not wrong to be a Muslim. It's wrong to hate Muslims. I don't understand how twisted this world still is. We've come across so much hatred, so much oppression, so much death. We've seen it. We've shunned it. We've had remorse for it. We felt bad about it. We said we're not going to do that again. Never again. We've had reparations for it. We try to make up for it, and still there's always somebody else that we want to direct that anger and that hatred and that judgment to, that we think we're better than. And a lot of it comes from these old texts that who knows where they came from. Thousands and thousands of years ago. Why are we holding on to these things like they are the truth, when the truth is we don't know, but what we do know is that having hatred towards other people because of who they are is wrong. And I don't need a book to tell me that. I feel it inside.
And I just want to say one last thing also. I really hope that the Jews at Sony and Disney can work out their differences and figure out how they're going to cut up my money when they make more of these Spider-Man movies.
All right. Well, hey, let's go in a different direction with the end of this one.
You can always email us at AmericanJewPodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on social media across all platforms at American Jew Podcast, except on Twitter. We are American Jew Pod.
I'm at Jonathan Randall on Instagram.
I'm at Beatnik Nudnik on Instagram.
And these are your friendly neighborhood Jews saying shalom.
Goodbye.